Chapter 81 Learn to Hold Thighs. Dad, well, why are you calling back now? Chen Xiaohua's voice was filled with a hint of dissatisfaction. Fang Pingan explained, I had a class meeting today, and then I received my military training uniforms, so I was busy the whole time. That's why I called you just now. You're not going to participate in military training. Why are you getting clothes? Fang Pingan suppressed his irritability and took a deep breath. Dad, who is Fang Hongjian looking for in the country? Can the Chen family help me? Chen Xiaohua was silent for a moment, and then Fang Pingan heard him say, Don't worry, now that I know about it, I will naturally not let go of any clues. The person has been found, but the person sent by your third uncle has not arrived yet. As for you, I just want to know your opinion. If the Chen family arranges bodyguards to take you to school in a special car, do you agree or not? Fang Pingan thought for a while before saying, Dad, can you find me an apartment with an elevator in the school? Chen Xiaohua's voice was filled with laughter. You are right to keep a low profile. However, keeping a low profile is not the solution to the problem. We still have to fight back. Isn't there a saying that if you can't solve the problem, then solve the person who created the problem? But if you don't want to be high profile, that's up to you. I'll call your third uncle and tell him to stay in a hotel for the time being and not run around. No one knows whether your brother has found someone else. Remember, from now on, I will have the final say in the Chen family. You call me Dad, so there are some things that need me to do. You have a thigh as big as mine. You must learn to hug my thigh, Ping An. Fang Pingan was stunned for a moment before asking, What do you mean? Dad, are you going to be the head of the Chen family? Chen Xiaohua laughed and said, What else? Does that mean I have to donate money to the school so they can build me a staff apartment or something? Chen Xiaohua chuckled and said, I'm not sure about this yet. You'll have to ask your third uncle. Fang Pingan had no choice but to wait for his news, then hung up the phone and returned to the room. The three roommates were now sitting neatly at the table, looking at him. Fang Pingan asked in confusion, What's wrong? Why are you all looking at me? Ding Junj coughed and asked, What's going on? Did your dad agree to let you live in the dormitory? Fang Pingan shook his head and smiled bitterly. Stay in the hotel for now and come back when your leg is healed. He didn't expect that Chen Xiaohua would become the head of the Chen family. The former owner of a small restaurant is going to be the head of the Chen family. He had no one to ask about the Chen family. For example, how powerful is the Chen family? Is it ranked high in Beijing? For example, questions like how the Fang family and the Zhao family are, etc., can only be asked in person after my parents and Hui arrive in Beijing. But let's forget about bodyguards. At least he doesn't need to right now. Freshmen are picked up and dropped off by bodyguards. That's just a joke. What's more, in a place like Kyoto University, if outsiders don't register strictly, they may not be able to enter at all. Ding Jun shrugged. Okay, if you're worried, we can take you to the hotel and back. Fang Pingan quickly refused. How can I feel so embarrassed? He believed that his roommates already had suspicions, but he couldn't explain it. He also felt quite aggrieved. All of this is the fault of that bastard Fang Hongjian. How does the adoptive father plan to deal with this matter? Who are the people sent by the Chen family? With doubts, he took a ditty and went back to the hotel. He refused to take a taxi alone. Diddy at least has a record or something. He was overthinking it. In fact, after Fang Junhong talked with Fang Hongjian was busy making connections in the school during this period. He never expected that although Fang Pingan was temporarily unable to cause trouble for him, Fang Pingan's adoptive father, a lowly man who ran a small restaurant, had already begun to take action against him. Fang Jinglei bought a few bottles of red wine when she returned home. Mother Zhao Wei is really useless now. When she came back, Zhao Wei was still lying in bed. After the nanny prepares the meal, she is only responsible for cleaning and doesn't take care of anything else. During the meal, there were only her and Zhao Wei. Although Fang Maiaoxuan was also in Beijing, they only met once after arriving in Beijing and then returned to school. Fang Maiaoxuan is already a junior. She has a heavy workload and she is also a very hardworking student. I have a boyfriend who I have been dating for a year, and we live together outside of school. In her words, she will stay in Beijing after graduation. Moreover, her second uncle also met with her and promised that she would work in the Fang family's company in Beijing after graduation. So she was also very clear about what happened in the Fang family of Yuncheng. It's just that she doesn't care. She and Fang Hongjian were not particularly close. In her opinion, her mother's current situation was entirely her own fault. As for what happened to Fang Pingan, she simply said that she was powerless and didn't care what would happen to this basically emotionless brother in the future. Fang Myoxuan is such a selfish person. It was precisely for this reason that Fang Junyi actually favored her. Fang Jinglei still remembers the expression on her fourth sister's face at that time. It can be explained clearly in two words: indifference. The third sister cannot be relied upon at all. She couldn't understand the third sister's train of thought, nor could she understand why she was inexplicably angry towards Fang Ping'an. I don't know how someone like her could want to be a lawyer. After dinner, Fang Jinglei thought for a long time and decided not to tell her mother. Fang Ping'an's leg was hit by someone hired by Fang Hongzhen. This is what Fang Ping'an told her himself. If my mother knew about this, I don't know if it would cause even bigger trouble. But she knew that because Qin Balian and Fang Hongzhen's identities were exposed, her uncle took away the compensation that originally belonged to her mother. In this matter, Zhao Wei should be blamed for not paying enough attention and blindly trusting her uncle. Even she knew that the share transfer agreement had to be signed in person, but she used the excuse that she didn't want to see Fang Junhong and didn't go at all. My uncle went to Yuncheng by himself. The final result was that the shares originally intended as compensation for the mother were taken away by the Zhao family. Of course, as compensation, my uncle gave this yard to my mother and also went through the relevant procedures. In addition, he also guaranteed to transfer a sum of money to his mother's card every month. But in Fang Jinglei's opinion, it was obvious that her uncle was bullying her and her daughter. It's not that my mother didn't have any objections, but such opinions had no effect at all in the Zhao family. Ever since that incident, my uncle has never shown up again, and my mother has never returned to the Zhao family. As a younger generation, she saw it all and felt anxious, but she just couldn't talk to her uncle directly. Apart from crying, the mother really didn't care at all. She herself wanted to cry. Why does she have to bear all this alone now? Why not the eldest sister? Why not the third sister or the fourth sister? Does she, as the second child, have to bear so much? Neither my parents nor my sisters are reliable. She has such a hard life. Before she knew it, she had finished the bottle of red wine. Shaking her dizzy head, she picked up the phone beside her and called her elder sister. I waited for a long time, but no one answered the call until it hung up automatically. She threw away her phone, lay down on the bed with her clothes on, and fell asleep. Chapter 82 Zusan Zhu Wenyao. That night, Fang Ping'an slept uneasily in the hotel. It was already late when Chen Xiaohua, who was far away in Yuncheng, picked up the plane. He did not go home, but had a midnight snack with 4 people who came from the capital. A middle-aged man with 3 young people. The 4 people had no luggage and came empty-handed. Chen Xiaohua didn't ask any further questions, but just told him about the Fang family, Fang Hongzhen, and Fang Ping'an. Although I knew some things before I set off, it was never as clear as hearing it in person. The few people who obviously knew that he would soon be the head of the family were extremely respectful to him. Second Master, you don't have to take care of us too much. The head of the family has already told us that this time we will follow your instructions. The middle-aged man in the lead said, we also know something about Zhu San's situation, but we don't know what result you want, Second Master. The middle-aged man is called Tang Zicheng, and he is a cousin of Chen Ziyang's generation who is several generations away. His father's generation has been working for the Chen family. In the past, this would be considered a family-born child. The 3 young men are the Chen family's bodyguards. Chen Xiaohua had seen their information before, and they were all people who were specifically responsible for the execution of specific matters for the Chen family. After thinking for a while, he said, Zhu San's family is also quite powerful in Yuncheng. If something goes wrong and it gets out of hand, it will be difficult to resolve. Take him away quietly, and after asking him questions clearly erase all traces. Tang Zicheng grinned. We will get the information you want as soon as possible, and then eliminate all traces and leave Yuncheng. He handed Chen Xiaohua a mobile phone, and then left the food stall with the 3 young men. He was never asked about the hotel or transportation. Chen Xiaohua looked at the brand new cell phone and turned it on. This phone is for receiving calls, not for making calls. 20 years ago, he had heard about the dark side of the Chen family, but had never seen it. Could it be that what I said before about erasing all traces be misunderstood as killing that kid Zhu San? Zhu Wenyao did not return to the dormitory at night. At the request of his father Zhu Zhuang, he lived in the school dormitory like other students. But for people like him, when he was studying at the local university, no one cared whether he went back to the dormitory to sleep or not. And he seldom sleeps in the dormitory. So his father thought he was at school, while his classmates thought he went out to get a room. That's why, when he woke up and found himself on a boat, he was so scared. I have to say that although it is autumn, autumn in the South is almost non-existent. There are only 2 seasons in a year, summer and winter. When Zhu Wenyao opened his eyes, he saw swaying clouds with bright edges. What came to my ears was the sound of waves. What I smell in my nose is the fishy and salty smell of the sea breeze. He immediately confirmed that he should be at sea. In the boat with him were 2 young strangers. One was playing with his cell phone, while the other was concentrating on eating a roast chicken. It wasn't the fact that he was on a boat that frightened him. Instead, his hands, feet, and knees were tied up. After he saw his situation clearly, he soon broke out in a cold sweat. I was drinking in the bar and was doing fine, but I just went to the bathroom. As soon as I finished peeing, I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, I was already here. Although there was moonlight, it was still difficult to see the faces of the 2 people clearly on the boat. But if he thought about it, it was clear that these people were probably not people he knew. And he didn't dare to look. If we just throw him into the sea now, he will die. There is simply no other possibility. Fortunately, the mouth was not gagged. 2 big brothers. He didn't dare to move, and could only open his mouth to ask. I don't know how I have offended you too. I can compensate you. His voice was a little hoarse. His throat was dry, and no saliva came out when he swallowed. My dad is rich. My family owns a group company. My dad has a lot of money. Oh, you're awake. The man who was eating the roast chicken raised his head and smiled at him. The moonlight shone on his teeth, making them look white and a little scary. Zhu Wenyao immediately knew that these 2 people were not locals. He must be from the north, otherwise his Mandarin wouldn't be so good. Even when the locals speak Mandarin, they still have obvious accents. That can't be changed no matter what. The other one who was playing with his cell phone put it in his pocket, turned around, walked over, bent down, and patted Zhu San's face. Zhu San, right. Tell me when you wake up. Were you the one who contacted the driver who hit Fang Pinggan? His voice, accompanied by the sound of the waves, could be heard clearly. Zhu San's pupils suddenly shrank. What driver? Brother, I really don't know what you're talking about. The man who was gnawing on the roast chicken looked up at him and laughed, then continued gnawing on his food. It seems that he loves roast chicken very much. I only asked 3 times. The man was not angry and continued to ask calmly. Did Fang Hongzhen ask you to contact someone to hit and kill Fang Pinggan? But now the person is not dead, and the driver has been arrested. Zhu San shrank back and shook his head violently. I don't know what you're talking about. Fang Hongzhen went abroad. He went abroad for medical treatment. I haven't contacted him, brother. The man nodded. He was the one who contacted you, right? Zhu San thought to himself, that's right. It wasn't me who contacted him. The man turned around and shouted, Shayaji, come and throw this guy down. Too lazy to ask. In a couple of days, I will go to Country M to look for that guy named Fang. Zhu San was stunned. Didn't he say to ask 3 times? Big brother, wait. Zhu San shouted hurriedly. I'll tell you. He twisted his body like a maggot. Brother, don't do it. I say everything. Roast chicken had just put down the food in his hand, but picked it up again after hearing what he said. Just ask first. He always kills people without giving them a chance to speak. You need to change this bad habit of yours. The young man smiled and asked gently, Okay, this is the 3rd time I've asked you this. Zhu San told everything with tears streaming down his face. He and Fang Hongzhen started hanging out together when they were in the junior high school of number 1 middle school. However, the Zhu family is not as wealthy as the Fang group, and his father always asks him to have good relations with those wealthy families. Zhu San himself was originally a smart person. He has been exposed to a lot of dark things since he was a child, so when he followed Fang Hongzhen to do evil things in school, he was more of the executor. Fang Hongzhen called him after he recovered. Not only that, he also transferred 250,000 yuan to him and asked him to help find someone. 50,000 of them were given to him. The other 200,000 is for the people who do the work. Brother, I swear I gave all the 200,000 yuan to that driver. I really didn't take much. The roast chicken said nothing and continued eating. Another person then asked, Do you know which city Fang Hongzhen is from? Chapter 83. Did you know that you will choke on water? Chicken Falls. I know he's at Chicken Falls, he told me. I asked when they first called me. I asked and he told me. Brother, I really don't dare to lie to you. What's the password for your phone? The young man took out another phone from his pocket and shook it in his hand. XXXXXX, my cell phone password is XXXXXX, Zhu Weniao said hurriedly. After unlocking the phone, the young man opened the address book and asked, "What is Fang Hongzhen's name in your phone?" "Brother Jun, his name in my phone is Brother Jun." Zhu San didn't dare to hide anything. Even though one of them is just eating, the other one always has a smile on his face. But he knows. When he was a child, he saw those who did dirty work for his father, and they all looked like this. Either they have special hobbies, or they always smile. But when these people take action, they basically leave no one alive. Now he could only try his best to prevent the other party from taking action. His hands, feet, and knees were tied up, and he would die if he went into the water. He didn't want to die, especially for someone who had gone abroad and might never come back. "Brother, the last time Fang Hongzhen contacted me, he told me not to contact him anymore. He must be very dissatisfied that the other party is still alive and well. If you want to look for him, I am willing to go to Country M with you. I can help you arrange him out." As soon as the roast chicken moved, Zhu San looked over nervously. The roast chicken just threw the unfinished chicken into the sea and came over to wipe his hands on him. Another young man asked with a smile, "Are you full?" Roast chicken nodded. "Tell me, do you have any last words?" Roast chicken squatted in front of him and asked. Zhu Weniao collapsed. "Brother, this is really none of my business. Woo. I just helped him contact someone. I don't know if anything will really happen to Fang Ping'an. In order to protect myself, I specifically told the driver that it would be best not to kill anyone if possible. Isn't Fang Ping'an alive, brother?" "I was wrong, brother. Please let me go. I am willing to give money." "Call my dad. Wow. My dad would definitely be willing to pay to buy my life, brother. Please let me go." "I beg you, Wu." Sheyaji smiled and said, "Your father, Zhu Zhuang, started his business by opening a casino when he was young. He has 4 sons, and you are only the 3rd. How much is he willing to spend on you? Besides, is he willing to fight against us? Just for a brainless guy like you?" Zhu Weniao cried out loudly. "I am the best student in my family and the only one who was admitted to university. He must be reluctant to see me die. Please, brothers, call my dad and ask for money. I don't want to die. I don't want to die for Fang Hongzhen, brother." Another young man quietly took out his cell phone, saved Fang Hongzhen's number into his own phone, and then threw Zhu San's phone into the sea. Seeing this, Zhu San cried even louder. He knew that he would not survive. "Who on earth did I offend?" Fang Hongzhen said Fang Ping'an was just a wimp. "Who on earth is standing up for him?" Sheyaji took out a rag from the broken sampan and stuffed it into Zhu San's mouth, explaining, "Seal your mouth and you can only breathe through your nose. We don't have to listen to your loud voice anymore, right? Once you get into the water, you can only use your nose to breathe, not your mouth. Do you know what this means?" He smiled slightly. "You'll choke on water, you know." The other young man curled his lips and said, "Should we walk here or in the deep water?" Roast chicken shook his head and said, "That's not necessary." At this time, Zhu San could only make a heavy nasal sound of woo. Tears flowed madly and could not be stopped. He was scared to death, and he was about to die. Suddenly, he felt pain in both heels. Despair, deep despair. The tendons of my hamstrings were severed. He looked at the other person desperately with pleading eyes. The one who was being used just now was roasting the chicken, and he didn't even see where the knife was taken from. "It's okay, it will be over soon," the smiling young man comforted. Then he reached into Zhu San's armpit. The sound of waves brought by the sea breeze was suddenly accompanied by a small splash of water. The heavy nasal sobs stopped abruptly. The roast chicken stood up straight. "It will only take 3 days at most, and nothing will be left behind," he said lightly. "Well, let's go around and go back. At least we can't go back so early tonight. Let's go to Zhu Zhuang's casino and play a few rounds." Sheyaji nodded. "I heard that he has 2 very capable fighters under him. Ah Chi, can you do it?" "How do you know if you don't try?" Ah Chi smiled. The moonlight shone on his teeth, casting a dark white glow. "What? Morning." After Fang Ping'an got up, he picked up his cell phone and took a look. As a result, I didn't see any news from my roommate. After getting dressed, he went downstairs to have breakfast. Since he doesn't need to participate in military training, he has nothing to do recently. According to his adoptive father, Fang Hongzhen will have the Chen family to help him solve his problem. But Fang Hongzhen is abroad. I don't know which city it is, and this issue may take a long time to resolve. After thinking about this for a while, he gave up. This was simply not something he could solve right now. If his adoptive father becomes the head of the Chen family, isn't it natural for him to benefit from it? It's almost October. He set the maximum retracement range for his 2 million yuan and automatically bought and closed the position. It's time to take a look. I turned on the computer and read the news first as usual, and then opened the software. Not much different from what he expected. The funds in the account have gone through several changes. For those who already know the future trends, making money from the secondary market or the futures market is really no different from putting money in a sack. There was no thrilling feeling at all. In this market, his 2 million is nothing. All he can do is go with the flow, without having to use his brain or watch the market all the time. He invested 100,000 yuan in the stock index futures market. The market fell slowly all the way, and the retracement fluctuation was not large, which did not exceed the closing point he set. The current profit level may not be the highest, but it is already far beyond what an average person can achieve in their lifetime. With the money he invested, he could only buy 2 lots. He didn't want to touch the remaining 1.7 million. For every point fluctuation, the profit or loss of one transaction is close to 300 yuan. When he shorted, the futures index was at 3,180.27, and now it has fallen to 3,063.91. This means that if he buys and closes the position now, his profit will reach a staggering 6.98 million. And this trend continues. Chapter 84, it's time to come. In fact, stock index futures fell by more than 100 points in just over a month, but that's not all. He learned a lot during the days he followed Fang Hongzhen. It can be said that he learned everything that Fang Hongzhen learned, and even learned it better than Fang Hongzhen. His shortcoming is the lack of practical experience. However, his ability to predict market trends and his photographic memory can make up for this shortcoming to a certain extent. He needs to carry out a certain degree of practical operations to strengthen his sense of trends and his ability to perceive market sentiment. Seeing that the holiday was just over a week away, he decided to stop for the time being. After setting the closing point, he turned to studying the stock market. This thing has low risk. Even if you lose money, there is no such thing as a margin call. You can only lose part of the money. He wants to use the most bizarre stock market in the world to train himself to control market sentiment. This requires him to keep following the hot spots. Only hot spots in the market can stimulate investors' emotions. He had expected to earn unimaginable profits from the money he invested. But what was more important to him was that it once again verified one thing. That is, the stock futures market has not changed because of his rebirth and survival to the present day. This is very important. The military training began, and Fang Pinggan deliberately left the hotel at around 10 o'clock in the morning and rushed to school. He knew that this was the time when his classmates were most tired. Either they have already disbanded and are taking a break, or they are about to take a break. The first day of military training is an extremely exciting day for all freshmen, but it is also the most relaxing day. He walked into the campus on crutches, then bought 6 bottles of ice water from a store on campus, and also brought 3 large cups of iced milk tea. This can be considered as a gift of consolation from my brothers. The morning sun is already very dazzling. It is the time when the autumn heat is showing its full force. Fang Pingyan looked at a large group of students in camouflage uniforms, standing upright on the playground according to their different departments, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It's so sunny. The freshmen who were standing at attention looked at a lame man carrying a large bag of drinks in his hand. The aluminum crutches were so dazzling in the sun. Slowly, the guy came closer. Countless people's eyes were focused on the translucent plastic bag with a yellow smiley face on it. The water inside is clearly visible. The most disgusting thing is that this guy had a plastic bag from a milk tea shop inside his plastic bag. Although I couldn't see clearly what was inside, the plastic bag of the milk tea shop was custom made and even had a logo. Fang Pingyan didn't know where the people from the finance department were, so he could only walk slowly towards them, looking carefully as he walked. The only people he knew and were familiar with were his 3 beloved roommates. As for the other classmates, if he paid attention to them, there would be no problem. If he didn't pay attention to them, he really didn't pay any attention to them. During this time of inciting hatred, he focused on Counselor Cairo Bo. After a long while, he saw Cairo Bo standing far away at the edge of the playground, between the court and the track. I don't know which department the freshmen on the track are from. I was watching him walk slowly by with envy. This scene left a deep impression on all the freshmen he passed by. Damn cripple. It's really fucking hateful. However, the ice water and milk tea are exactly what we need. On the other side, Cairo Bo also noticed him. Not only Cairo Bo, but other students also noticed him. There were only 160 freshmen in the finance department, standing in a square formation, with arms length apart from each other, and each of them looked at him with vicious eyes. Oh, besides Fang Ping'an, there should be two other people who did not come to the military training. When Cairo Bo saw him, he was surprised for a moment, then walked over. Cairo Bo, at this moment, was different from the first time he met him. He was also wearing a training uniform, but he was wearing a pair of leather shoes. The rest of the attire is the same as that of all the freshmen. Fang Ping'an, why are you here? His eyes scanned the plastic bag. If you're here to comfort everyone, this isn't enough. Fang Ping'an looked at the smiling counselor and smiled too. Well, I promised my roommates that I would come and cheer them up today. If I can take that much, it would be fine if I treated everyone to a cup each. Teacher Kaio, this milk tea is for you and the instructor. He opened the bag, took out the plastic bag of milk tea, and handed it to Cairo Bo. Cairo Bo is an interesting person. He doesn't look embarrassed at all. He took the plastic bag with a smile and pointed across the runway. Go sit over there for a while. It should be a few minutes before we can take a break. You came just in time. I'll accept this milk tea. Fang Ping'an quickly thanked him, then walked towards the platform across the runway with a few bottles of ice water. He somewhat regretted not coming earlier. At least we should listen to everyone singing. The sun sets in the west and the clouds are flying. He started to sweat after walking here from school. The sun is so scorching early in the morning, it's really killing me. More than 150 people just watched him walk to the side, find a shady place, and sit down on a platform with difficulty. He put the bag aside, then took out a bottle of water, unscrewed the cap, and took a sip. So cool. Li Hongzhang and his friends were standing at the back of the team, and could only clearly see Fang Ping'an. We also saw clearly that this guy brought water, so it must be for them. As for Song Zhangping, the acting squad leader, he stood miserably at the front, closest to the instructor. His eyes even wanted to spit fire. The freshmen on the track were from an unknown department. They watched Fang Ping'an slowly cross the track and pass less than 3 meters in front of them. This resentment is huge. Damn, it's just a broken leg. Why are you showing off? I hope your other 2 legs are broken too. On the other side, Cairo Bo walked over to the instructor standing aside with iced milk tea and whispered a few words. Fang Ping'an saw the instructor look back at him, then took the milk tea. 2 instructors and 1 counselor. That's exactly 3 cups for 3 people. The 3 of them ignored the students and started drinking. This made Ding Junj and Kai Yonghao, who were standing behind, very angry. This is bought for us, okay? Hold on for just 1 more milk tea time. An instructor yelled. The other instructor was sipping his milk tea with a smile on his face. At this moment, Fang Ping'an received the attention of all the freshmen in the Department of Finance. Cairo Bo even laughed out loud. All the boys and girls were staring at the 3 people drinking milk tea. Don't even mention how envious that look was. Some girls even started swallowing their saliva. How far can a runway be? That is about 20 meters. Fang Ping'an looked at so many resentful eyes and shrank his neck. A cup of milk tea only took a few minutes, and soon, the instructor gave the order and everyone was dismissed. Kai Yonghao took the lead and ran towards Fang Ping'an. Unexpectedly, a fat man quickly passed him and headed straight for Fang Ping'an. Water, give me water, Li Hongzhang shouted. Ding Junj and Kai Yonghao also came over. Each took a bottle of water, unscrewed the lid, and drank. Drink slowly, it's still iced and it'll hurt your stomach, Fang Ping'an kindly reminded. Ding Junj snorted. We are water and the counselors and instructors are milk tea. Is it also iced? Fang Ping'an nodded. At worst, I'll treat you to milk tea at noon. Chapter 85, if it weren't for me, you would have been the head of the family. The freshmen on the track soon disbanded. Many people in camouflage uniforms began to gather in the shade, found their own cups and started drinking water. The most annoying thing about standing at attention is being exposed to the sun. It was just after 10 in the morning, and everyone's clothes were already partially soaked with sweat. Li Hongzhang is the most obvious example. The fatter you are, the more you sweat. My armpits were soaked. I didn't expect you to come and bring us water. The water I brought has probably turned into warm water by now. That's right, the sun is too big. Fang Ping'an looked at his 3 roommates with sweat all over their faces and said with a smile, if my legs weren't so bad, I would have given everyone a cup of iced milk tea. Kai Yonghao drank all the water except the ice cubes in one breath and picked up the second bottle. While twisting the lid, he asked, there are a few pretty girls in our department. Buy me some milk tea and I'll introduce them to you. Fang Pingan was surprised and asked, don't I know him myself? Could it be that you have only been in military training for a few hours and you have already become revolutionary comrades? Li Hongzhang sighed. Don't mention it, I've already rested twice this morning. This is the third time. The physical fitness of today's young people is really poor. After Kai Younghao finished showing off the water in the second bottle, he gasped for a while. Ping En, let me tell you, military training is a very important part. If you hadn't come, you naturally wouldn't have any empathy with those girls. They had only experienced this kind of hardship when they were in the first year of high school, and now it happens again, but you didn't join them. Tell me, aren't you at a disadvantage? For example, the opportunity to look at Tiny, waists up close and unscrupulously. Kai Younghao looked a little obscene, like a sex-hungry ghost. But everyone knew he was joking, and no one said anything. After all, a small waist is really pleasing to the eye. Who doesn't like a slim waist? Is there a girl interested in you? Fang Pingan asked with his head tilted to the side. Kai Younghao laughed. Ding Junj was also puzzled. Aren't you always with us? When did a girl become interested in you? How come I don't know? Li Hongzhang said directly. Don't believe him. It's just a pretense. He had no chance to meet girls alone. Besides, I know exactly what he does all day long. How long do you rest for? Fang Pingan didn't want to continue this topic. Ding Junj raised his hand and looked at his watch. It's about 10 minutes before we have to line up. These 10 minutes are just time to go to the toilet and replenish water. I saw that the afternoon was even more difficult. Several people drank water silently to replenish their water and looked around. The girls in training uniforms and belts showed off their slim figures. No matter the size, thickness, height, or depth, even if it is covered, it still has an irresistible temptation for boys of this age. Who doesn't want to have a relationship when going to college? Even Fang Pingan, who has seen too many beauties, has such expectations. Hey Pingan, will you stay with us for a while? Li Hongzhang asked. Fang Pingan shook his head. I have attracted a lot of hatred along the way. You don't want me to be pushed to the ground by those freshmen, do you? Li Hongzhang wiped the sweat off his fat face and said, that's not the case. What I mean is, if you have nothing to do, then stay. Have lunch together at noon. If you go back, you'll have to eat alone. I heard that people's appetite increases dramatically during military training. Do you want to eat in the cafeteria or go out? Fang Pingan hesitated before asking. Kai Younghao immediately waved his hand and said, Ping An, the food in the Beijing University cafeteria is delicious and cheap. I think it's perfect except for the lack of grill. Besides, lunch is another opportunity to have lunch with girls, so why bother? I don't eat out. The instructor had already started to blow the whistle, and Fang Pingan stood up and said, you guys continue to suffer. I'll go back to the hotel to enjoy the air conditioning. The three of them laughed and cursed a few words, then dropped the bottles and ran towards the playground. Fang Pingan picked up the bottle, stuffed it into a plastic bag, and slowly walked away along the edge of the runway. What? King, I want to go back and be the head of the family. This is what Chen Xiaohua said after he sent Ping An to report to Peking University a while ago. Although Liu Qing was surprised at the time, she also felt sympathy when she heard that her brother-in-law had a terminal illness. Her husband was such a talented and famous person in Beijing back then, but because of her, he became unknown for nearly 20 years. He was once a genius and the first choice for the head of the family, but he gave up the power and wealth of his family for a woman. He has been unknown for 20 years and is just the owner of a small restaurant at the gate of an old and dilapidated residential area. Xiaohua must be feeling very bitter and tormented. Yes, Huey and I will go back with you. She didn't hesitate at all. I just said it silently in my heart. This position of patriarch should have been yours 20 years ago. It's all my fault. I've delayed you for so many years. Chen Xiaohua looked at her seriously. I've seen Dad. He said he never hated you. He hates me. But you don't need to care about these details. After returning to the capital, I think he will say I'm sorry to you. You have suffered so much over the years. Chen Xiaohua reached out, held her hand and patted it gently. Liu Qing was stunned for a moment. No, I'm not bitter. She grinned. You've been the one who suffered in the past 20 years. If it weren't for me, you would have been the head of the family long ago. Xiaohua, thank you. She raised her hand and stroked her husband's temple. Look at you, you have white hair. Getting up early and going to bed late, these years must have exhausted you. Chen Xiaohua hugged his wife in his arms and whispered in her ear. My past 20 years have been unimaginably happy. I said the same thing in Beijing. The 20 years of living with you have brought me the happiness and satisfaction I have never experienced before. If I really have to say sorry, it should be me who says sorry to you. After leaving the family, I can only open a small restaurant to support you." Chen Xiaohua chuckled. Liu Qing was also amused and gently punched his chest. The two snuggled together, feeling each other's love as if they were still young 20 years ago. After a while, Liu Qing whispered, "Let me go. Huey will be back soon. It's not good if the children see us." Chen Xiaohua let out a suppressed laugh from his chest. He let go of his wife, looked at her slightly red cheek, and pecked her gently. "Okay, wife, let's go back to the capital. I'll build you a big home." Before that, the couple had walked around the rental houses separately. Not only did we renegotiate the contract with the tenant, we also agreed that the rent would be paid on a fixed date every year. It took 3 days to complete these trivial tasks. The houses under Huey's name are all old and small, and their home also belongs to an old neighborhood. The supporting infrastructure is not perfect, but I have lived here for many years and am completely accustomed to the lifestyle here. Now that he was about to leave, Liu Qing seemed a little reluctant. Chapter 86 is what you think. All the things have been packed up, and the appliances and furniture are left in the room. According to Liu Qing, this house should be rented out instead of being sold. Chen Xiaohua naturally agreed, and Chen Xiuhui was not willing to sell the home where she had lived since she was a child. In her opinion, no matter how good a house is, it cannot contain the memories of her growing up. Chen Xiaoji has already contacted a school in Beijing for his niece, and she only needs to go through the admission procedures once she arrives in Beijing. For the time being, you will be a transfer student and can only be enrolled after your household registration has been transferred. Liu Qing, on the other hand, felt even more anxious and uneasy. Chen Xiaohua, despite the pressure from his family, gritted his teeth and took her away from the capital. The two of them did not borrow a single cent from the Chen family, and I don't know how much hardship they went through to have everything they have now. Now she felt uneasy about returning to that city again. The uncertainty about the future made her feel a little depressed. If her husband hadn't decided to return to the capital, she would never have mentioned this matter. It's okay to suffer a little for the sake of your husband. At least, Xiaohua said that his father-in-law didn't really hate him. He just hated Xiaohua for giving up the family interests for her. That's all. Now, because of his brother-in-law, her husband has to go back to take charge of the Chen family, and she is the mistress of the Chen family. If her father-in-law still gave her a cold shoulder, she wouldn't mind confronting him head-on or returning to Yuncheng again. Anyway, she has no other relatives except an uncle who went to Southeast Asia many years ago. There has been no news for so many years, and I don't know if he has passed away. Even if this meant she had to separate from her husband, she was determined not to be weak anymore. Otherwise, what should Huey do? Chen Xiuhui was very excited. At least she has confirmed that she is really a rich second generation, or rich nth generation. The slogan of moving towards the goal of becoming a white, rich, and beautiful girl in the new era has been shouted out. What's more, I can see brother Ping'an often when I go to the capital. It was only more than 2 months from the time my brother came back to the time he went to school in Beijing. She misses her brother, but she still had to go to school in Yuncheng, at least until the last day. Tomorrow is Saturday, and according to my parents' plan, I can get on the plane on Sunday. When she went to school this morning, she brought a lot of small gifts. I asked my mother for 1,000 yuan and bought a gift for each classmate. If we want to meet again in the future, we can only meet at universities in Beijing. The little girl has been in a very good mood recently. These years, although the family conditions are very ordinary, but both Chen Xiaohua and Liu Qing educated her very well. Just look at Fang Ping'an and you will know. She has good study habits and maintains good relationships with all her classmates. This is what the students envy the most, and she herself didn't know why. That's why when she came home from school, she was carrying 3 big plastic bags. It is full of gifts given by classmates and good friends from other classes. When Chen Xiaohua received the call from Tang Zicheng, Liu Qing was taking a shower. He walked out onto the balcony and answered the phone. "Second young master," Tang Zicheng's voice was still respectful, "I have made things clear. We have asked about that guy and the driver's family. It is exactly as you said." Chen Xiaohua nodded lightly and said nothing. Tang Zicheng then asked, "Second master, do you think it is necessary to go abroad?" Chen Xiaohua turned his head to look at the living room, thought for a moment, and then took a deep breath. "Go quickly and come back quickly, but you can only do it once. Okay, second master, we will leave Yuncheng overnight. This phone number is not a domestic number, so you don't have to worry about being tracked or eavesdropped. If you need help from brothers in the future, please call me anytime. Take care, second master. See you in the capital. After saying that, he hung up the phone without waiting for Chen Xiaohua to speak. Chen Xiaohua glanced at the caller ID, and a smile appeared on his face. It's really not a domestic number segment. Interesting. It seems that the third brother has done a lot of shameful things in the past 20 years. On the other side, Tang Zicheng put his phone into his pocket and turned to look at his junior sitting on the sofa. Drive away at night to the Magic City. Book a ticket to Country M. Roast Chicken grinned and said, Okay, but it's a pity that Ah Chi still wants to try out the kung fu of Boss Zhu's men. Ah Chi shook his head slightly and said, don't talk nonsense. Uncle Tang don't listen to his nonsense. Tang Zicheng's expression did not change. He nodded and said, Pack your things, Xiaoado, and book your tickets. The few of them packed their things quickly. In fact, they didn't have much luggage, but if they were going abroad, they definitely couldn't go empty-handed. 20 minutes later, a travel van left Yuncheng and headed north. When Sheiji and Aki were dealing with Zhu San, Tang Zicheng and Adao personally found the driver's family. Although they did not take any action, they did confirm that the person who contacted the driver gave their family a sum of money. The driver was not a madman, nor did he have cancer. He was simply short of money and did not have a proper job. He was just a gangster. Since Tangxi City did not take any action, Adao naturally would not act on his own. They asked and left. The driver's family was left trembling. Chen Xiaohua didn't care about the details of these things, nor did he want to know. He knew that there were people like Tang Zicheng in every big family. He just tries not to contact or think too much about it when it's not necessary. After all, he has been a law-abiding citizen for the past 20 years. How could there be a person as pure as a snow lotus growing up in a family like that? Even the third brother, who occasionally needs to give orders personally, doesn't he look much different from an ordinary person? Not to mention my brother's wife, Qi Yang, who knew clearly about the dark side of the family, but had she ever been affected by these things? Liu Qing is such a pure woman, generous, intelligent, and virtuous. She will definitely be a good mistress. As for his daughter Hui, he must let her get in touch with the dark side of this family early on so that she will not suffer after entering society in the future. When he returned to the living room, Liu Qing had not come out yet, so he simply took out his cell phone and called Fang Pinggan. At this time, Fang Pinggan had not slept yet. He was looking at the transaction details and transaction time of London Gold, trying to learn to judge the market sentiment. When I heard my phone vibrate, I quickly picked it up. Ping-en, you are still asleep. No, Dad, why are you calling so late? Well, I sent someone from Fang Hongjian's side to go abroad. Fang Ping-en's heart skipped a beat. What, Dad, you don't mean? Well, it's what you think. But I only agree that they should take action once, at least to give him a warning. Your safety in the country is his life. If anything happens to you, he won't be able to escape. In Fang Ping-en's impression, this was the first time he heard Chen Xiaohua speak like this. Dad, don't involve Mom and Hui. I understand that you have the need and ability to do so, but it's best not to let Hui know. It's the same with my mom. Fang Ping'en's voice was a little low. He had seen Fang Hongjian and Fang Junhong deal with such shady matters together. So it's not rejection, but worry that it will affect my family. Chen Xiaohua's voice came over. Well, I'm a little surprised that you think so. After a deep laugh, Chen Xiaohua continued. I just want to tell you that you don't have to take Fang Hongjian too seriously. After this time, if you are not dead, he probably won't do anything to you. Study with peace of mind and go for rehabilitation when it's time. Your health is the most important thing. Chapter 87, 2 Conditions. Hearing this, Fang Pinggan felt a little confused. What if he didn't die? Doesn't that mean that Fang Hongjian is going to be killed now? Dad, is that what you mean? His voice trembled a little. Chen Xiaohua hummed, Ping-en, every family has a dark side. This is just like how we have small-scale military conflicts in peacetime that are unknown to the public. It's just like this society seems very safe on the whole, but there is always a dark side. No matter which family it is, if they want to survive smoothly in this society, they will have this side. Fang Ping-en didn't say anything, but didn't hang up the phone either. He just listened quietly. If you don't teach him a lesson, no one can guarantee what he will do next. If he died, it was what he deserved. If he's not dead, he's lucky. Okay, it's late. You should go to bed early too. We will arrive in the capital the day after tomorrow. Fang Pingan immediately said, "Well, I'll pick you up at the airport." Chen Xiaohu laughed softly and said, "No need. Your legs are not in good condition, so you'd better stay in the hotel. By the way, I will ask someone to pick you up then, and we will have a reunion dinner together at Chen's house the day after tomorrow night. Don't make any other arrangements the night after tomorrow. Just leave the time for us. Your mother and Huey miss you very much." "I miss them too. Dad, I'm going to bed. Please send someone to pick me up the day after tomorrow, and I will go with them to the airport to pick you up." After hanging up the phone, Fang Pingan couldn't fall asleep. The dark side he had truly seen was from Fang Hongzhen. Thinking back to Fang Hongzhen's ruthless methods and decisiveness at that time, he really thought that he was indeed inferior to Fang Hongzhen in this aspect. He is not as ruthless as Fang Hongzhen. There is now a deadlock between them. Even though Fang Hongzhen is looking for trouble, Fang Pingan himself has no other choice. If he was killed by the Chen family and the incident happened abroad, what does it have to do with him and his adoptive father in the country? Didn't Chen Xiaohu, his adoptive father, tell him to learn how to cling to someone powerful? Suddenly, he remembered the looks of Fang Junhong and Qin Balian when he left the police station. He had never seen such a vicious look before. Qin Balian's information quickly came to mind. Fang Junhong's childhood sweetheart's family has fallen on hard times. He has been hidden by Fang Junhong for so many years, and is Zhao Wei's mortal enemy. No, there is no need to continue using the Zhao family. What's more, the Zhao family is definitely not a good family. If you really want to have no worries, you must get rid of this mother and son together. How can you guard against thieves 1,000 days if you are the only thief to do so? Fang Pingan, who had never thought of killing anyone in his entire life, had been mentally preparing himself. Chen Xiaohu taught him a lesson through practical actions. A society, a country, a family, and even an individual all has a dark side. If I were really that pure, I wouldn't have attacked Fang Hongzhen directly that night. Go to hell. Living my life over again is a fantasy. I must not die for no reason. The next morning, just after 6 o'clock, Fang Pingan got up. He held his cell phone and watched the time slowly pass to 6:30. Chen Xiaohu had just gotten up. Today is Saturday and Huey doesn't have to go to school, so she is still sleeping in. Liu Qing had also gotten up and was washing up in the bathroom. Chen Xiaohu had already gone out and was about to buy breakfast. The phone rang. When Chen Xiaohu saw the caller ID showed, "Son," the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up slightly. This kid, he can't be still so pedantic. "Hey Pingan, you're up so early. Dad, are you able to talk now?" "Convenient." Chen Xiaohu instinctively felt that what Fang Pingan was going to say would be rather horrifying. If we really want to take action against Fang Hongzhen, we can't let his mother go either. Last time, his mother also thought it was me who did it. I still remember the look in her eyes. She wanted me to die. Fang Pingan paused, gritted his teeth, and continued. "It would be best if they could never come back. Otherwise, I'm worried that you and Huey will be involved in the future. With Fang Hongzhen's character, he can do it." Chen Xiaohua's chuckle came from the phone, and he was obviously in a good mood. "What do you want me to do?" Chen Xiaohua asked softly. "Or what kind of result do you want?" "I want them to lose the ability to retaliate against me or my family, once and for all. Although I am afraid, I don't want my family to be affected. Whether it's you, my mom, or Huey, I can't imagine you being hurt. You are the only relatives I have in this world." Fang Pingan's mood suddenly became calm. He said calmly, stood up and walked to the window to look at the streets of Beijing in the early morning. "If possible, let him and his mother die." Chen Xiaohua laughed. "Okay, but I have conditions." "Conditions? Dad, you tell me, I'll agree to anything I can do." Chen Xiaohua laughed even louder. "When I return to the capital, come with me to the police station and change your surname to Chen. I only have 2 children, you and Huey. Huey is a girl, so you also have to promise not to refuse to take over the position of head of the Chen family in the future. That's my condition. If you don't agree, I'll leave the kid to you to deal with." Fang Pingan was stunned by these 2 conditions. Change surname. This is not impossible. As for being the heir of the Chen family, this seems inappropriate. The blood of the Fang family and the Zhao family flows in his body. As they are both noble families in the capital, if there is no marriage between them, they will naturally be competitors. Whether in politics or business, everyone is trying every possible means to seize resources. But he is only 18 years old now, and unlike Fang Hongzhen, he did not receive elite education since childhood. Well, even without mentioning all that, Just a bloodline issue would make it unlikely. Dad, I agree to your first condition. Second, even if I agree it will be useless. How old am I now? Besides, it's not up to you to decide on this matter. At least we need Grandpa's nod. The Chen family has so many descendants, so they will definitely find a suitable successor. That's not something you should worry about. Just tell me whether you agree or not. Fang Pingan felt helpless. Okay, I promise. Your major is finance, but that's not enough. You also need to study business and law. Chen Xiaoji said seriously. I know that universities today are different from our time. You still have a lot to learn, and you also need to learn some simple self-defense techniques. The previous part makes sense, but what the hell is self-defense? Is it necessary? Although he also wants to learn, if this becomes a hard condition, it will not be an easy thing to do. Dad, let me think about it. Just assume that I have agreed to everything, but I haven't figured out how to do it. Can you give me some time? After thinking for a moment, he ended the call. Chapter 88, he must take the initiative. Since returning to Yuncheng and resigning, Fang Qingyan moved out of her home and lived in Gu Xiaobai's apartment. Both of them were originally above elites in the workplace. They have achieved enviable results in their respective fields of work. During this time, she had nothing to do. I just stay in the apartment every day. It's not that I drink every day, but I just can't muster the energy and don't know what to do. There is no shortage of money. Gu Xiaobai is very good at making money. But now, not only did she not meet her father, she didn't even go to the capital to accompany her mother. In Gu Xiaobai's opinion, Yanyan was a little confused. Sometimes I think I have done too many wrong things, and sometimes I think I have done nothing wrong. This is a typical problem of self-awareness. It's just that she was extremely busy with work and didn't have much time to care about Yanyan. She often doesn't get home until 11 or 12 o'clock in the evening, and she hasn't been intimate with Fang Qingyan for several days. This has happened frequently in the past. After all, she is a lawyer, and working overtime is very common for her. But she came back today and wanted to talk to Fang Qingyan about something. About Fang Zhidi. This little girl is very motivated at work, but her temper is a bit rebellious. If it weren't for Fang Qingyan, she wouldn't have let Fang Zhidi follow her as an assistant lawyer so easily. You know, generally speaking, for a newcomer who has just obtained the practicing qualification, it will take several years before he can become an assistant lawyer, right? Fang Zhidi almost didn't go through this step. She brought me here just 2 months after I came to the law firm. She admired his strong personality, but she seems to be out of shape recently. It seems that apart from her appearance and figure, there is nothing else to recommend her. He used to be very individual, but now he is a bit of a show-off. This is not something she can accept. Gu Xiaobai's reputation in the industry cannot be affected by her. If the law firm is affected, she, as a partner, will not be able to explain herself. When I opened the door, Fang Qingyan was leaning on the sofa with a glass of red wine, drinking while watching TV. She was wearing a silk nightgown, and her hair was simply tied into a bun. One long, straight, and smooth leg was resting on the coffee table, while the other leg was bent and placed on the sofa. The straps of the robe were tied loosely, revealing a large area of white and tender skin. This was the scene that Gu Xiaobai saw when he walked in. She threw her bag on the table beside her, bent down to take off her leather shoes and put on slippers. Fang Qingyan didn't even turn her head and just kept watching TV. Gu Xiaobai sighed and said, Yan, I'm back. Fang Qingyan turned her head lazily and glanced at her, smiling but saying nothing. Just keep watching. I'll go take a shower and change my clothes before I come back to accompany you. As she spoke, she took off her clothes and went into the bathroom. When she came out, she had changed into a bathrobe. She didn't take a shower, she just washed off the sweat. It was still very hot and humid in Yuncheng at the end of September. Fang Qingyan took out red wine from the ice bucket and poured her a glass. Today is the earliest time you've come back recently. Have you closed the case? Gu Xiaobai took the cold red wine and drank it all. No, I'm not in a good mood today and don't want to work overtime. I might as well come back and accompany you. Fang Qingyan's skin, which had not been exposed to the sun for some time, looked particularly fair and smooth. Gu Xiaobai couldn't help but reach out and touch her body. Your skin is even better than mine. I really envy you. Fang Qingyan did not resist and smiled bitterly. Don't you think I'm useless? She took a sip of her wine and sighed. I know this isn't right, but I just don't want to move. Gu Xiaobai picked up the bottle and poured himself another glass. Since you know it, I won't tell you. But this is really not a long-term solution. I see ever since that incident happened in your family, not only you, but your Zyodi has also been having problems recently. If this continues, I will have no choice but to let her leave our law firm." She looked at Fang Qingyan's expression carefully. She frowned her pretty eyebrows slightly, pouted her lips slightly, thought for a moment, and then said, "It's okay, baby, just follow the rules of your law firm. Also, you don't have to take special care of her. With her personality, I'm afraid no matter how much you give, she probably won't appreciate it." I hadn't noticed these problems before, so I ignored them. It was only after that terrible thing happened in my family that I realized that Zyodi's personality was really not suitable for being a lawyer. Otherwise, something bad will happen sooner or later. If you don't want her anymore, just tell her directly. "I'm fine." Gu Beibai pondered for a moment and then explained. She has been emotionally unstable lately and has argued with the client several times. It has a certain impact on both me and the law firm. Yanyan, what I mean is that you'd better talk to her and try to change your career. Although litigation lawyers make money quickly, if there are obvious conflicts with those vicious clients, I really don't know what's going to happen. Fang Qingyan immediately remembered something that happened a few years ago. After the court trial, a suspect blinded his defense lawyer with handcuffs. Because there are always problems in communication between the two of them. They both have hot tempers. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but shudder. "Bye-bye, I understand. Let me clean up and call her after dinner. If you can't say it, let me say it. After all, she is my sister. You let her join your law firm out of my favor." Gu Xiaobai nodded and said nothing more. When Fang Qingyan stood up, her spring light suddenly appeared, but neither of them was interested at this moment. One is mentally decadent, the other is exhausted. "Come on, I'll make something to eat with you. Have a good rest afterwards. Yanyan, you also need to cheer up as soon as possible." Fang Qingyan thought a lot. On the one hand, it is everything I have done since my rebirth. What he is best at is reviewing. But he also knew that his problem was that he was not decisive enough. This is not a good thing. If the trajectory of his life had not changed, given his personality, he would probably have died just like in his previous life. But since he severed ties with the Fang family, he found that many things were taking a different direction. Perhaps my adoptive father in my previous life also became the head of the Chen family. But by then, he had already died and knew nothing about it. In this life, Chen Xiaohua became the designated next head of the family. Both his identity and status were completely different from before. With his own personality, if he wanted to confront Fang Hongzhen, it would be beyond his reach. Moreover, he didn't know where Fang Hongzhen was abroad or what school he attended. He doesn't know any of this. Now the adoptive father has used the Chen family's resources to take action. This love is not unconditional, although those two conditions don't seem to be bad for me. Perhaps when he truly integrates into the Chen family, his future life trajectory will not develop according to his own plan. It is just inevitable that he has to come into contact with a lot of dark sides. At lunchtime, he sat alone in the hotel restaurant eating Western food. After the meal, he made up his mind. If he must come into contact with the darkness, he must take the initiative. Chapter 89. I'm so mad. Chen Xiuhui was the first one to walk out of the arrival hall. She was looking for Fang Qingyan from a distance. Chen Xiaohua and Liu Qing followed behind, pushing a luggage cart. The rest of the luggage has been handed over to the logistics company. Only 3 people arrived, but there were a lot of people picking up people at the airport. Chen Xiaoji, Qi Yang, Fang Qingyan, Caiyan Bo, and the 6 bodyguards who followed them just stood at the exit. Fang Qingyan is the easiest to identify. Chen Xiuhui didn't know Chen Xiaoji and the others. So after she came out, she rushed straight towards Fang Qingyan. Brother, I'm here." A broad smile broke out on her delicate face. After rushing to Fang Qingyan, she did not rush over to hug him, but instead held his arm and smiled brightly. Fang Qingyan never expected that this girl would be so thick-skinned. He could not see his uncle and others standing beside him at all, even though the aura they displayed was completely different from that of ordinary people. He reached out and rubbed the girl's head with a smile, then smiled and nodded to Chen Xiaohua and his wife who came out. His mere presence was enough. Really go forward to take the luggage and give them money. Naturally, the ones who came forward to greet him were my 3rd uncle and 3rd aunt. It's a matter between the elders. He and the girl are still children. They shouldn't get involved. Pointing at Uncle San and the others, he leaned over to the girl and whispered, "Don't make any noise. These are Uncle San and Aunt San." Chen Xiuhui blinked her big eyes and nodded, but didn't say anything. Chen Xiaohua and Liu Qing stopped and looked at their 3rd brother and his wife who came over. They smiled and said, Shayaji, Qi Yang, you're all here. Liu Qing looked at Chen Shayaji in front of him, and in a trance, he saw that young and flamboyant little guy again. Looking at the woman next to him, he exuded an intellectual and gentle feeling that made her feel very comfortable. However, Liu Qing keenly discovered that both his third brother and this sister-in-law, whom he had never met, seemed to have other emotions besides happiness. But for the moment, she couldn't stare at the person and make a careful distinction. Second sister-in-law, I'm Qi Yang. The woman took 2 steps forward, smiling gently, and at the same time put her arm around her. Liu Qing smiled back. I am Liu Qing, Xiaohui is my husband. Without waiting for Qi Yang to speak again, she waved at Chen Xiuhui, who was staring at her. Hui, come here quickly and meet your third uncle and third aunt. Chen Xiuhui was pushed by Fang Pingyan before she walked over. She was wearing a white t-shirt, a pair of shorts, and a pair of Converse canvas shoes. She looks fresh and clean. She is young and wears no makeup. She just has a little bun on her head, which makes her look pure and cute. In fact, when she ran over here and shouted, brother, Chen Shayaji and Qi Yang had already noticed her. If she hadn't called out the 3 words, brother Pingyan, she would never have been able to get close to him. Other people who were there to pick up the passengers, and those who had just arrived, simply avoided the scene when they saw it. This scene has been seen too many times at Beijing Airport. Everyone knows that just avoid it. There must be a reason why the capital city dares to be so ostentatious. No one wants to cause trouble. Chen Xiuhui walked to her parents and stood beside them. She bowed to Chen Shayaji and Qi Yang and called out in a clear voice, hello, third uncle, hello, third aunt. Then she added, Aunt San, you look no more than 30 years old. How do you maintain your looks? Please teach my mom. Qi Yang smiled. Liu Qing slapped her and scolded her with a smile. Child, do I look old? Chen Shayahui didn't want everyone to stay in the hall, so he said, let's go home. Chen Shayaji didn't look at him. Instead, he said to Liu Qing seriously, second sister-in-law, welcome home. Liu Qing felt a pang in her heart and tears in her eyes as she looked at her husband. Chen Xiaohui smiled back at her and said, go home. Chen Xiuhui is a very smart child. Although I don't understand my parents' past yet, I know now that I should be well behaved. She followed Fang Pingyan, following him obediently. Caiyan Bo didn't say much except taking the luggage. He has no say here. When they came out and got on the car, Chen Xiuhui found that there were more than 10 people coming to pick up their family of 3. There are 6 cars in total. She didn't recognize any of them except the Mercedes. But it didn't matter. She and Fang Pingyan started chattering after they got into the Mercedes-Benz. The driver in front had a blank expression on his face and drove seriously, and the bodyguard sitting in the passenger seat was also silent. Brother, how are you doing in the capital? The girl asked, leaning close to him. Fang Pingyan nodded calmly. It's okay. The school is in military training now. I don't have to participate. Chen Xiuhui glanced at the plaster on his leg and nodded in approval. That's right, your leg is inconvenient. But I heard that the military training in college is different from that in high school. Fang Pingyan shook his head. It's different, but it's nothing to be afraid of. You will have military training when you go to college, and you will know then. I didn't participate, so I don't know what to tell you. As for you, Dad should have already arranged for you to go to school here. I don't know which middle school it is. Chen Xiuhui lowered her voice and said, I heard my dad say it seemed to be a private school. Her voice suddenly became a little nervous. Brother, do you think the students in private schools all come from wealthy families? If I behave normally, will people look down on me? Fang Pingyan comforted him. It's okay, someone will take you to and from school every day. If someone really bullies you, your family won't ignore it. Chen Xiuhui glanced at the driver and bodyguard in front, then leaned over and whispered in Fang Pingyan's ear, lowering her voice very low. Brother, do you think the Chen family is very powerful in the capital, the kind that no one dares to mess with? Fang Pingyan smiled bitterly and shook his head. I don't know either, I'm just like you, I just came to Beijing. Anyway, in a place like the capital, there are a lot of officials and rich people everywhere. If you can avoid trouble, it's better not to. Really, because no one knows whether the person you offend has a strong background or is very powerful. I just keep my tail between my legs. You'd better be a good person like me. Chen Xiuhui curled her lips and said, I am a good person, okay. Besides, I haven't even registered yet, so how do you know there will be conflicts with those kids from wealthy families? Brother, have you forgotten that I, Chen Xiuhui, am a rich, second-generation, white, rich, beautiful girl that everyone loves? Fang Pingyan burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, you Hui, what did you say? White, rich, and beautiful girl. Is this how you position yourself? The girl turned her face away and didn't look at him. Angry, the kind that is hard to appease. Fang Pingan slowed down his tone. Huey, we are all from Yuncheng. When we arrive at a new place, no matter what the conditions at home are, we should at least keep a low profile. Of course, if someone provokes us, we can't be afraid of trouble, do you understand? No matter what, the Chen family should still be considered #1 in the capital. Of course, I'm just guessing. Why don't you take some time to ask Mom? Chen Xiuhui turned around and pouted, saying, I asked in Yuncheng, but Mom refused to tell me. When I asked my dad, he just laughed at me. I am so mad. Fang Pingan raised his hand and patted her head. Don't worry, if things get worse, I'm still your brother. If someone really bullies you, tell me. I'll help you beat up those high school students. Chapter 90 Qiyang. A row of black cars formed a line and drove steadily through the streets of the capital. Chen Xiahua, Liu Qing, and Chen Xiaji and his wife were all sitting in a station wagon. The two brothers were whispering to each other, and no one knew what they were talking about, but from time to time, they could hear low laughter. Two women sat in the back row. Liu Qing looked out the window and said from time to time, It turned out that this place used to be XXX, but now it has changed. Qi Yang always had a smile on his face. When she married into the Chen family, she also heard the story between her second sister-in-law and second brother. It's just that the incident didn't happen to her, so she just expressed envy. There is such an outstanding man who is willing to give up everything for her. He would rather go far away than accept an arranged marriage from his family. As for her, although she really liked Chen Xiaji after meeting him, the reason they met in the first place was still marriage. No, the Qi family is just a small family. If she could marry Chen Xiaji, according to my father, it would be a great honor for the Qi family. She also admitted that if she hadn't married Chen Xiaji, the Qi family would now be no different from an ordinary family. At least those projects that were obviously big money makers back then could not be given to the family. Therefore, being able to marry into a wealthy family is also a blessing. In comparison, the second sister-in-law may be more enviable. Not only did he get pure love, but he also became a winner in life in the end. Moreover, he has such a lovely daughter. On the other hand, I don't even have a daughter. Thinking about her 5 sons, none of them gave her peace of mind. Second sister-in-law, I envy you very much. As she thought about it, she couldn't help but say it out loud. Liu Qing turned to look at her and comforted her. Sister-in-law, you don't have to envy me. Xiahua has suffered a lot over the years, all because of me. Now that Xiaji has health problems, I also support him to unload the burden. Otherwise, I wouldn't have followed. After all, we have lived in Yuncheng for so many years, and I am a little reluctant to leave. Qi Yang smiled and shook his head. No, second sister-in-law. It's enough for Xiaji to know his own physical condition. No one wants to get this kind of disease, but it has already happened, and we have no choice but to face it. What I envy is that you have such a lovely daughter. And peace. I talked to him the last time he came. You have educated the 2 children very well. Liu Qing could only smile. The 2 brothers in the front row were no longer talking. For a moment, the car became quiet. When the convoy arrived at the villa, Chen Xiaji got out first. After everyone got out, he stood on the steps, facing his second brother's family, and said with a smile, Let's just stay here tonight. I don't know whether you want to live in a courtyard house or a villa, so I haven't made any arrangements yet. I just got off the plane. Brother and sister-in-law, please go upstairs and have a rest first. Before dinner, I will pick up the old man and give you a welcoming banquet. When men are talking, women naturally remain silent and just need to keep a smile on their faces. Chen Xiahua didn't act pretentiously. He nodded, turned around, and extended his hand to Liu Qing. Liu Qing put his hand into the big hand and held it tightly. Chen Xiahua held his wife's hand, walked up the stairs, and entered the villa. Chen Xiuhui was stunned. What? Her parents don't care about her anymore. Turning to look at her brother, Fang Pingan stood there without moving, just smiled and nodded at her, then pointed towards the villa. Chen Xiuhui didn't understand what this meant, but she wasn't afraid. Didn't Uncle San say that we're tired from flying, so we should take a rest first? And as she is used to living in the south, she really wants to take a shower. Uncle San, Aunt San, I'll go back to my room first. She is very polite. Chen Xiaji and Qi Yang nodded with a smile, and then the other party said safely, Ping En, why don't you go upstairs and rest for a while? Your third aunt and I still have some things to deal with. Fang Pingan quickly said, Okay, thank you, Uncle and Aunt, I'm a little tired too. Kai and Bo brought 2 people, each carrying 2 boxes up the stairs. Miss, please follow me. Your room is on the 3rd floor. Please go this way and take the elevator up. Master Ping En, the room you stayed in last time is still reserved for you. Fang Ping'an was actually not tired. The problem is, no matter what happens next, judging from what Chen Xiaohua said before, he will definitely have to be present. Leaning on crutches, he followed Cayenne Bo and entered the elevator. His room is right next to Chen Xiuhui's room. Cayenne Bo and the others put down the boxes and went downstairs. Chen Xiuhui saw her parents had already entered the room, turned around and said with a smile, "Brother, I'll take a shower and change clothes and come to see you." Fang Ping'an opened the door and said, "No, I want to sleep for a while." "Brother, you are so boring," Chen Xiuhui pouted. "No, you just got off the plane, take a rest. This is the first time you meet your grandfather during dinner. If you are not in good condition, it will be terrible to leave a bad impression." Then he went into his room and closed the door. Before Chen Xiuhui entered the room, Chen Xiaoji came out and pushed a box back to his room. Seeing that she was still outside the door, he said, "Hui, wash up and take a nap. You haven't seen your grandfather yet, you will see him tonight." Chen Xiuhui nodded and pulled her suitcase into the room without saying a word. At first, she didn't notice how luxurious the room was. It just feels very big, and there is a dedicated bathroom and toilet. This is completely different from home. After walking around the room, she pushed the box to the side of the closet and planned to hang up the clothes she brought. When she opened the wardrobe, she was stunned. The closet is basically full. I don't know if it was because of what her father said about her height and physical features, but those clothes looked very beautiful. White, pink, blue, and various colored t-shirts, long-sleeved, short-sleeved, and with hoods. There are even a few sets of JK and small leather shoes. In the drawer next to it, there are socks of various colors, most of which are white socks. I also have several pairs of white sneakers. I took it out and took a look, and it was indeed the right size for me. Chen Xiuhui just looked at it once and didn't actually take it out and wear it. She opened her suitcase, took out her clothes, and went to the bathroom with her spare clothes. In the room at the other end, Chen Xiaohua sat on the sofa looking at the documents in his hand. He saw it when he came in. It was placed on the table. It must have been for him to see. When I got it in my hands, I found that it was a relationship map of the family's internal members. The following is the information of the current family members in Beijing. The information is very detailed. Even if he prepared it himself, that's it. The people and relationships of each family in various aspects such as official career, business, and academia are clearly visible. Liu Qing had just finished taking a shower and changed his clothes, and was blowing his hair. Seeing that he was concentrating on reading some information, she did not come over to disturb him. After Liu Qing finished cleaning up, he went into the bedroom, lay on the bed, and prepared to rest for a while. Chen Xiaohua looked up at the closed door, then lowered his head to continue reading the documents. Time just passes by minute. When there was a knock on the door, Chen Xiaohua pinched his brows, stood up, and opened the door. "Second Master, it's almost time. You and the second madam can start preparing to set off. I'll go tell Miss Hui and Master Ping'an." Cayenne Bo's attitude was respectful, and in Chen Xiaohua's opinion, he was even more respectful than the last time he came. "Okay, got it. Just go down and prepare the car. I'll go talk to the kids."